hope you're doing well. Welcome back to another video. This is probably going to be a very short one. It is my February wrap up. How did I forget the month? Wow. I read 4 books in February, 775 pages and 27.15 hours of listening. So to start with, this is one I read physically, is Truth or Dare by MJ Arledge. This isn't a whole reading vlog, is in my I think like the video before last, the first volume of the unhaul or read spinner wheel thing. What's up with the spray? Anyway, I enjoyed this. I think I give it 4 stars. It's basically, we're following Helen Grace, who's the main character in this series of books. This is the 10th one in it, and it's set in Southampton, and there's basically been like these financially motivated crimes, possibly just after like the pandemic. So it's sort of like the UK isn't in a very good state financially and stuff, and these different crimes that are seemingly unrelated, and Helen Grace and her team are trying to work out like what went down, like, you know, what's actually happening here. And yeah, I think what maybe brought it down a little bit is that there's a secondary storyline, is that her, like, the one below her, they used to have a relationship, and he's basically trying to oust her and like get the team to sort of like go against her and things. She wasn't really that interested in, personally. I think it maybe just made the book drag a little bit, because I think it's like 468 pages, so yeah, I think it could have been probably about 380, I think. But yeah, I was still intrigued. It was enjoyable, fast paced, like very, very short chapters as well, so you get through it quite quickly. I liked Helen Grace. I think she was a good character. She had like she was a strong female lead, clever as well, and yeah, on the whole decent. I definitely would check it out more in this series and the author again, but I would much prefer and recommend Eye for an Eye by him, which is a standalone, which was really good. But yeah, then I listened to Horror Movie by Paul Tremblay. I really did not like this book. I did like a TikTok review. All of them actually have TikTok reviews, so if you want maybe a little bit more depth, go there. But like I was saying in that, like, if we were playing baseball or rounders, then this would have never happened, and I kind of wish we were playing that instead of reading, because I didn't really like any of his previous books I read. A Head Full of Ghosts, Cabin at the End of the World, and the like vampire one. I cannot remember, don't care. And they were all like mid to like meh, you know. But I think this is definitely his worst, and yeah, but it's basically, so it's like there's like 3 like plot points in a way. One is like a manuscript of this horror movie that's just called Horror Movie, that's these 2 like young women, I guess, created. And then the main character of that is called the Thin Kid, and then the character was portrayed by this person. We never know his name. He's only ever really just referred to, I guess, as the Thin Kid, as well as the character he portrays in the film. It's complicated, but it's in like the more modern day, and they're doing a reboot of this film that was filmed like in the like 90s, 80s maybe, I can't really remember, but only like certain parts of it was actually aired, and that like at the end of it there was like a big like thing which sort of made them not air the film. But it's so basically him like now like trying to do like the like rebooting, and like that what comes with that, talking with the different directors and stuff, and then also him back like before when he was in the film and like being approached and like doing the filming and stuff. But yeah, and then like he sort of like becomes this Thin Kid character and stuff. And yeah, I just thought it was just it was kind of just stupid, for me, to be honest. Like there wasn't really anything much to it. There was also like, I think in the end that maybe if you had like taken a bit more time to actually read into it, you might have got these situations or thoughts beforehand. But I didn't really read that really when I was listening to it. But So just little trigger warning, sort of like suicide, I guess, and suicidal ideations. But I didn't really see them sort of building up to anything. So it seemed personally for me like it was just put in at a later state, and then he tried to backtrack and say like, oh, I like as the Finn kid, I understood these parts of her and stuff. But anyway, I wouldn't recommend it. So I'm sorry if I spoiled anything, but like it is kind of crap. It is very, very overwritten. It's long. It's just like, yeah, it's just, well, I mean, actually, personally, it wasn't too long. It was 7.9 hours, but it felt longer. Like it felt very long. But yeah, I did not like that. Would not recommend. Probably like 2 stars. Yeah. I mean, like here's the thing. He writes very intriguing plots, I guess, in a way, or like the prequels, or like the thing you read about what the book is about sound really interesting, and I want to read them. And in a way, you are like sort of made to keep on reading to understand what the plot twist is, or like what like goes down, or how did it go down. But the characters are just like kind of unlikable, quite irritating. The narrations, I don't really like any of the narrations for his audiobooks, so maybe if I had read it physically, possibly, but then again, also the story is just kind of meh. But yeah. Anyway, then we come to the best book of the year so far, and that is The Betrayal of Thomas True by AJ West. I gave this 4.75 stars. I don't know if I should tell you about this, because this is like the content is sort of coming up in the upcoming vlog, my second like unhaul or read spinner wheel thing. But I don't know how long it's going to take me to read the book I'm currently reading for that. So I ran out of storage. I had to like delete stuff and change and things. But a little plot summary. I don't need to pick up the book, do I? Following Thomas, and he flees from Highgate, where he lives, to like the city of London in like the 1715, to work with his like uncle and like them at like a candle shop on London Bridge. And he is like the son of like a reverend or something, and like there's such an ingrained sort of like self-hatred and some sense of like queer shame, because like from the very first moment he realized he was gay, he was like, this is sinful, this is wrong, like I'm going to hell in some sense. And he was sort of like bullied and like was treated badly by like his father and family, because like he wasn't like other boys and things like that. But anyway, so he flees to London. And then he meets with this new character called Jack, and like involves him in sort of the Molly scene, and he starts like going to like the Molly clubs or Molly houses, which were like the 1700s version of sort of like a gay club, sort of like debauchery and sex and drink and gossip and like all that sort of like funness, and they was just able to be their true selves and have this other persona that they wasn't allowed to by society, because it was such like a horrible time to be queer. And he's one of the main characters, Thomas, but there's also Gabriel, who is the like Molly guard, and he is like this like big like burly bear of a man, and he is tasked with trying to work out who this rat character is, because there's a character who's apparently one of the Mollys that is sharing information about the like whereabouts and the names of the Mollys to like these 2 justices, which are like hell-bent on like getting men convicted and murdered basically for being homosexuals, and also this other society for like the something of manners, who are like go around beating up and murdering queer men, and there's sort of like a little bit of a romance between them and stuff. Yeah, I just think it was really, really good. I love like the characters, they're so like well fleshed out, and they're like so lovable, and you just like want good things to come to them. But there is also like some other bad, like they're real. It's so well written, it's so well researched, and like it really does bring this sort of like gritty, like dirty, like poverty stricken like city of London to life during the time, and like the sights and the smells and things, yeah, it was very, very entertaining as well. Like it's interesting, you want to work out who the rat is and how it goes along, sort of like red herrings and plot holes and things. I did. The reason why it's not a full 5-star, even though like it was like it started as that, is just that I think maybe it felt a little bit longer than it actually was, and you sort of like go away from some characters that you want to learn a little bit more about, but which I guess maybe could have been done better if it was a bit longer, or some parts taken away. But on the whole, really recommend, great read, and I definitely want to read more by AJ West. And then finally, I listened to Morris by Ian Forster. I previously read the book in 2023 and absolutely loved it. 5-star, creme de la creme, j'adore, one of my favourite reads ever, my favourite classic ever. And I do still think it is a really great book. But this time I didn't have as much of a connection to it. I did sort of get some more of the dated like-ness and like the references and the way it's written and things. So I would recommend probably reading it over just listening to the audiobook, but maybe a tandem is what I did first time. I did really enjoy that. But it is still an entertaining story. I love like the way it's like plotted. It's very like clear like what he wanted to do with the story. And definitely read the author notes at the end as like terminal note, because it definitely adds more to it, and it just like gives you a reason why he wrote the story and why it's so good basically. So would definitely recommend that. But basically the story is following Morris Hall, and it's him from like around 14 maybe or 11, I can't remember, to like about 25ish. And just sort of like coming of himself, coming of age, understanding his sexuality, and then having 2 relationships with his Cambridge equal, Clive Durham, and then also the gamekeeper Alex Scudder, and sort of deals with sort of like homophobia and like homosexuality during the time, like the 1940s, like early 1900s, and like classism and the class structure, and sort of like getting out of these like strict like boundaries put in place by society and like classes. Yeah, I think it tries to do a lot. I think it achieves it, and it is a good story. I think for star rating this time I'm probably going to give it maybe a 4.5. But it is still like 5-star potential. It is still a very good book, and one I would so recommend. So yeah, on the whole, I do think it was actually a good reading month, apart from horror movie, which I so easily could have DNF'd and should have done like literally in like the first like 30 minutes, but for some reason this thing didn't let me, told me not to. But hey ho. Hope you enjoyed this little video, and I shall see you soon for the next one. Have a nice morning, even night wherever you are in the world. Bye.